Welcome, Stephen. Thank you so much for taking time out today to talk to me.
My pleasure.
So, straight into it, Steve. As a global sales and communication expert, what 3 tips would you give people who want to be big and successful in sales?
Well, I would give people about 33 tips, but we haven't got time for 33 today, so let's go with 3. So if your offer is a high ticket offer, 1,000 plus, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 or even more, if it's that kind of money, I would really get to the point of qualifying people very, very, very quickly indeed. Yeah, find out if they are the person that filled out the form online, because sometimes, with the greatest love and respect, buyers can be liars, right? Okay, they can be a bit economical with the truth when they fill that form out. And oftentimes I've been talking to somebody back in my high ticket days selling for Bob Proctor, Chris Cardell, Peter Sage, offers of multiple thousands for great information and great training and great programs. You actually find out that somebody, as I say, has been economical with the truth, and that person is actually maybe a single mum with 2 dependent kids, got a part-time job in a hardware store, or even someone who's on benefits. Now, I would love to help those people, right? Because our heart goes out to those people, and the very fact that they have actually filled in that form demonstrates to me that they want to improve their lives, if that makes sense. So what I've always done in those instances is, not in a patronizing way, I've been empathetic, not sympathetic, to their situation at the time, and whatever resources, and there's so much stuff out there nowadays on YouTube, free resources that can really help people get onto the next level of consciousness, raise their awareness, which means they will attract better people, environment and circumstances into their lives, which ultimately will manifest more abundance, more cash, so that they can go ahead with the higher ticket stuff. Yeah, so but really qualify people, make sure we're on the same page, because we don't want to waste our time as sales professionals. And also I think it's very important, we don't want to have a long drawn out, almost coaching call style chat with somebody, great as that is, to falsely raise their expectations because they've missed the point that it's going to cost them 5,000 or 10,000. They're really in love with the idea, fantasizing about it already while they're talking to you, but then they just can't go ahead with it. So direct them to some sort of free resources. The second thing is really build deep rapport. Now, back in the day, sales training 101 in the 80s, where I come from, they used to tell us, when you went on the week's training course for the insurance company or whatever it was, they'd say, when you go into somebody's office or you're on the phone to somebody, find out what their hobbies are, and the chap plays golf, or he likes motorcycles or boxing. You can tell what I like, can't you? Because there's things that spring to mind. I mean, you say, oh, I like playing golf, and my dad's a great golfer, or something like that. And they say, that person then will really like you, will really do business with you, because they think that you're just like them. Well, sorry, that's superficial bullshit, right? Okay, it might help a little bit just to get as an icebreaker, but it doesn't build deep rapport. The way we build really deep rapport with people is to ask great questions, penetrative questions, and to paraphrase back the answers that people have given to us, because then we're really demonstrating that we've listened to them, paid attention. You see, that raises people's self-esteem, and I'll tell you why. A lot of people go through life being ignored, feeling ignored. You're having a conversation, especially nowadays, with somebody, you're trying to talk to them, and they're tapping some bullshit out on their phone. They're not giving you attention. Think how that makes you feel. It makes you feel undervalued. So if you demonstrate to somebody that you've really listened to what they're saying and you understand it at a deep level, then my goodness, you will raise their self-esteem. Now, they don't think, oh my goodness, Steve's just raised my self-esteem, I feel great. It happens at an unconscious level, just as a sort of bad feeling happens at an unconscious level when people are being ignored, yeah? And what I really do, the third thing, encourage people to take action. Even if you have the most, and this has happened to me so many times, I've had the most perfect sales call, best friends by the end of the call. They've got the money, they've got the desire, they have the ability time-wise to move forward. So everything's aligned, all the ducks are in a row, and yet they say, oh, I want to think about it, can you call me back in a week? Or I'm going to ask my friend what they think, or I'm going to ask Bob down the pub what he thinks. You know, Bob down the pub doesn't know anything, right? I'm telling you now. It's your customer, your prospect, who knows by the quality of the information and the rapport and the way that the call or the interview has gone. So we have to encourage people not to procrastinate. My good friend Peter Sage tells us that people are hardwired for comfort. That means that they want to stay where they are. They want to move forward, but they want to stay where they are. Bob Proctor used to call it the terror barrier. Yeah, you can call it what you like, but people are really hardwired to stay where they are, even though they can see that the grass is greener on the other side in this particular instant. But all these little things come into the mind, like, oh, you know, it's all right where you are, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, all this sort of stuff. So the left brain, the logical brain, kicks in and discourages us from taking action, and it keeps us stuck where we are. Yeah. And I heard somebody say recently, rationalize. They broke that word down into two words: rational lies. So when we want to do something and everything's good and it feels right, and we start to talk ourselves out of it by telling ourselves rational lies. So if you're out there in sales and the whole call or the whole meeting has gone really well, really encourage people to take action and share that with them. You know, say, listen, I can understand why you're saying that, but I know you want to move ahead, but you've just been we've been conditioned not to take action. That's what I'm trying to say in this short interview.
Wow, that is amazing. Even I feel very inspired by that.
It's profound, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's profound, yeah.
And you know what? Any inspirational person out there, it will be absolutely blown away by that, especially people who want to be in sales.
Right.
So another question I want to ask you. So now I've actually heard that you charge up to $40,000 a day. Why? It sounds like an odd question to ask, actually, Steve, but why so much?
Well, I've actually not only $40,000, I've charged 40 grand for training for a group of people before, in pounds, yeah, in English pounds. So I don't know what that is in dollars. Incidentally, I just said, just going back there about that is profound. I was a big fan of Zig Ziglar. In fact, I just sent an email. I'm hoping to do a podcast with his son, Tom Ziglar, very soon, and also hoping to do a podcast with Brian Proctor, the late Bob Proctor's son. So I'm just all in the process of organising all that. But Zig Ziglar, I heard him talking, he was a great humorist, you know, and he was saying to an audience one time, he says, that's profound about something he said, and they were all serious, you know, profundity's a serious thing, isn't it? And he said, now the next time I tell you something's profound, he says, you'll know it's profound because I've just told you it's profound. I just love the way that he put that, with that sort of self-deprecating humour. It's great. So yeah, you know what, it sounds like a lot of money, but it isn't. And here's why. So when I talk about 40 grand a day, let's break that down. I have been at the coalface of hardcore direct sales for about 40 years, give or take. I think it's actually give a few as well, not take, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it. So I started out by knocking on doors, selling life insurance back in the day, early 1980s, of the less salubrious council estates around South Yorkshire. And I'm going to give you a little clue here. The two words I heard most of all were not come in. So you can probably fill in the blank, yeah? And, you know, I've been in the network marketing industry very successfully. I've been in the life assurance business very successfully. I've been in alternative investments. I've taken sales floors from inception to 5 and 6 million pounds a month in consistent revenue within a year on multiple occasions and created multiple million turnover. I've invested multiple tens of thousands of pounds in my own development by paying people who I later became good friends and collaborators with, such as the late Richard Denny, legendary British sales coach, was my personal mentor on more than 2 occasions. Bob Proctor was my personal mentor, good friend for 20 years and collaborator on a few projects. Peter Sage, need I say more? So I've invested all that in me, combined with all that experience. So I kind of think of it as you're paying me £1,000 a year for each year of my experience. Now that would be if it was just one person, but if you've got a team of 10 people, that actually comes down to you investing, let's move away from that word paying, investing £100 per year of my experience and the investments that I've made in me and the results that I've got in each of your people. If you've got a team of 20 people, it's 50 quid for a year of my life per person, because I've been, as I say, I've been doing this for 40 years. So that's how I break that down, justify that. Yeah, it's not always that. It can be something different. It can be a composite deal where we take a little bit less. We never do anything for nothing, because people aren't valuing your time. If they're not invested in you, they're not invested in you. So we have to have some physical cash resource in the pot, but then we can do things in a different way, maybe something on the back end or increase of results. Don't forget, I mean, this takes me back to, I asked one of the directors of Siemens a few years ago, he said, what would it cost to train this team? I gave him a big figure, he said no. We negotiated and then we agreed upon back-end commission for incremental increases in sales. Now I kind of shot myself in the foot here, because we went to a 50% increase in sales. This was a 3-month deal. When they sat down with me, I was surprised how meticulously they recorded all the results compared to before I came in, and it actually went up to 74%. It actually did work out to be around about a 40 grand deal for delivering that training, but if we'd had the foresight to think, well, it could go up to 100% increase, I'd probably have got another 20 grand, because we actually got them a 74% increase in their sales in less than 3 months. Yeah? Does that answer the question?
It does, thank you very much.
Sorry to be a bit long-winded, that's just me. I like to go into the details so that people understand the backstory.
Definitely. Finally.
Yes.
The B word.
The B word.
Book.
Book.
Tell
Okay.
me about your book.
Book. Okay, so I have, first of all, let me just say, I've got 5 books written, almost written, that I've got to complete. This one, however, I've completed, and it's called Sell Like Hell. I've got a book coming out called The Spiritual Seller, which is more me up to date. High Conscious Sales Mastery is another one, which is due out soon, but this book, Sell Like Hell, it was a bit of a joke title, and then my social media guys, who are called Be My Social, who I've just given a shout out to, based in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, really cool guys, they said, we like the title, we love it. And so I thought, you know what, these guys are working with me, they're at the coalface of social media, YouTube, Google, websites, I'm just going to trust in what they say. So that's what we brought the book out. It's about 40-50 pages long, and I go into so much about so much when it comes to sales and communication, closing, different metaphors, analogy. Even if I say so myself, modesty aside, it's a really great read, and it doesn't take too long to read it either. You know, I've picked up some great books in the past because they've been recommended to me by people I respect, but they've been like War and Peace. They've been that thick, and they're full of padding. Some of them, not all of them, and so I've ended up doing them on Audible, or going to one of those things like Blinkist where you actually just get the salient points, because it's too much to read. So this isn't a book like that. It's a short book, it's punchy, it's got some humour in it, but it's real. It's not something that I've made up. Everything you get from me is 100% real, because I've been there and done it, and I honestly, again, modesty aside, I don't believe there are any, or if not many, sales and communication coaches and mindset coaches in the world who've been to the places that I've been, but that's for another video. But I have been in some interesting situations with some interesting people all over the world, and I'm the composite, as we all are. We are all the composite of our past experiences right up to this moment, from when we arrived on the scene as a newborn baby, good, bad, or indifferent. Thank you.
So how do I get hold of this book then?
How do you
You haven't mentioned that.
How do you get hold of the book? Well, I'm going to email you a copy or WhatsApp you a copy in a minute when we finish this. But for everybody else who might be wanting a copy, if you just, this video is probably going to go out on Instagram and Facebook, as well as YouTube and anywhere else that will have us. So just in the comments thing or direct messages, put free book please, and I will send you. Well, I won't, because you wouldn't want, if you relied on me to do it, probably wouldn't happen, because me and Tech are a bit like, ugh. But one of my team will send you a free PDF digital version of the book as is. And then if you like it, I'd really appreciate your support by buying it or downloading it, again, on Amazon when it comes out on there in a few weeks, once we're all accredited with an ISBN number. So that's how you can get it.
Stephen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking your time out for me today.
My pleasure.